The 4th of July, the day every year when we celebrate our independence from Great Britain. The Declaration of Independence is as close to a sacred document as we have in this country, and yet it was also a document of stunning hypocrisy because as Thomas Jefferson was writing those inspired words declaring that all men are created equal, this country had 500,000 enslaved people living inside our borders. Jefferson himself owned 175 of those slaves, and eventually he fathered 6 children from one of them, Sally Hemings, who was also his late wife Martha's half-sister. Following that family tree is just not that easy. Thomas Jefferson wasn't an evil man. He was a man of the Enlightenment, undoubtedly a genius who, like Franklin, invented things in his spare time. He even created his own version of the Bible, known today as the Jefferson Bible, a cut and paste affair compilation of passages that he liked from the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and written in Greek, Latin, French, and English. So yeah, Jefferson was a smart guy, a great man, but was he a good man? That question is a little more complicated because Jefferson was not just a man of the Enlightenment, he was also a man of the South. He was raised in a home where slaves were just a fact of life. Now, that doesn't exonerate him. And in fact, it's worth noting that another couple of founders who contributed to the Declaration, John Adams and Ben Franklin, had no slaves. Slavery was, even then, a controversial issue, and the abolition movement was alive and growing. As Abraham Lincoln, almost a century later, said, "If slavery isn't wrong, nothing is wrong." So I think it's safe to say Jefferson knew it was wrong. But he was a big spender, too. He loved his expensive wines and lived a pretty lavish lifestyle. But as a gentleman farmer, he couldn't afford to free his slaves, or so he thought. Mark Twain said he considered our country as beginning in April of 1865, when our great Civil War ended, granting Black Americans their freedom. And as with so much of what Mr. Clemens has said, there is a lot of truth to that. There are those out there who think we shouldn't talk about all this negative stuff, particularly now. Well, I heartily disagree. I think it's a perfect time. This in no way negates the power of those words in the Declaration. In fact, I see those words as aspirational. The truth behind them shows how far we've come and how hard we had to fight to get here, and how in times of great peril from without, or like today, from within, we've always found a way to right the ship of state and survive. We can do better. We must do better, because we have leaders today who believe that all men are created equal stuff is just a bunch of bleeding heart woke DEI bullshit.